Hello, it's Molly Reamer with Bridget's Grove and 30 Days of Goddess with our welcome video for June. And before we begin, I just want to invite you to take a nice deep breath and allow yourself to settle into your body for a minute, right here, right now, exactly where you are. And allow yourself to feel a sensation of trust that there is a place for you. So, one of the things I would like to acknowledge just right here, right now in this moment is that I'm feeling kind of weary and depleted. A lot of times I have a lot of energy and I have a lot of fire and things to share and say, and I'm just feeling a sense of heavy weariness. And I think it is because there is a lot of pain and there's a lot of hardship and there's a lot of suffering in this world and there's a lot of conflict and there's a lot of challenge and there's a lot of discord. And it can be hard to, keep the faith and hold our trust and feel safe enough almost to let our spirits have the things that they crave, because it almost feels like a type of denial, like you're turning your face away from the suffering if you allow yourself to have space for the practices that fuel you and sustain you and that bring you joy. And so one of the things I would like to remind you of this month is that daily practice and goddess-centered spiritual paths are not about turning our eyes away from the hardship in the world or the people who need us. What they are about is creating a resource base that fuels us so we have something to give, that we have something in the tank to give. So you becoming depleted and worn out and spiritually bereft helps no one and solves nothing. And you being fueled up and boosted and nourished and supported does help you help other people. And so, in fact, like if we have this sensation like we can't afford to waste time on these, matters of the spirit, the truth is that we can't afford not to spend time on matters of the spirit, because that is a balm for a wounded world and a wounded people. And so I picked a card from the companion little deck that I made to go with this month. I'm gonna explain that a little bit more in the future, in the minutes to come. But the card that we got was just this simple little prayer. I trust my own magic rising up from deep inside. I trust in possibility, the goddess as my guide. So may you keep trusting in possibility. May you keep trusting in the goddess. May you keep trusting in your own magic. And may you allow the practices that you create to fuel you and sustain you so that you still have hope, that you still have faith, that you still have love, that you still have compassion, that you still have a nourished heart from which to pour out to others. And so, yeah, so just a moment for all that bigness that we're all holding. And there's so much. So, I have some things to say about the resources that I've created this month, but I feel like in terms of, thematically speaking, I should go on with some of my other thoughts first. And they are that 30 Days of Goddess, which is a metaphor for daily practice. 30 Days of Goddess becomes a metaphor for daily practice and for a goddess-centered spiritual life. It can be as easily described as Goddess every day or 365 Days of Goddess. But basically, it's about daily practice. And really, truly, deeply at the heart, 30 Days of Goddess is about both making a place for yourself and for the sacred in the everyday, however small. One of the things that I really focus on is creating smallest possible practices, things that fit into your life as it is, not the life that you imagine that you might have, or the life that you see that you think somebody else on Instagram has, but the life that you really have right now. Practices that fit into your world as it is, whether you're a parent or working somewhere or a volunteer or a caregiver for somebody else in your home, or in a high stress environment, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, whatever your life is like, 30 Days of Goddess is about practices that fit into your life. And so one of the things I wanted to make sure to acknowledge is we've recently passed the 500-day mark with a 30 Days of Goddess practice. And I know it's called 30 Days of Goddess, not 500 Days of Goddess. And that's because practice happens day by day. It happens moment by moment. It happens hour by hour. It happens month by month. It doesn't happen 500 days at a time. All 500 days happen one moment at a time. And so each month is an invitation into the next 30 days of sacred moments, or the potential for sacred moments. Each month is an invitation into 30 possible days in which you can build a blessing basket of practices to support yourself and to nourish your life, your spirit, your heart, your love. And so it's each month is a container or an invitation, and then each day is its own container. And so we do have our prayer books, which can create a physical kind of sensation of having a sacred space, a container to store all your bits of magic in. And it can also be a fulfilling art practice in and of itself for you. But a creation of a book is not required. You can make one. I always include a link below the video to a blank anytime used prayer book file that you can print out, and you can use it during any month. So it's always available to you, and that is free. And so a book, I find, provides a beautiful tiny temple space so that you always have, your magic at your fingertips wherever you go. And the book itself to me becomes kind of a signal, to like, I can, literally have something to hold in my hands, to lay my hands on, that brings me back to center, into a sense of connection. If a book doesn't work for you, which it might not for whatever reason, it's not required that you make a book. I do offer every month. Oh, I printed it and didn't pick it up. Excuse me, sorry about that. Every month I create a set of a sampler pack, so to speak, of additional printable resources that you can use, and you can add those whether you purchase a prayer book, make a prayer book, or don't want a prayer book at all, but you just want to print some things out to have as a little booster. I have the sampler pack every month. And then this month, something that is new is I have a printable, oh my goodness, my light. I love the light out in the studio. I'm out in the Bridges Grove studio, and I love the light out here, but it makes videos a little bit challenging. However, and I know they're low resolution too. That's because I'm using my webcam. My videos I make on my phone are extremely slow and painful to upload to YouTube. So we kind of take what we can get in a rural internet atmosphere. So anyway, I made a printable set of black and white prayer cards. So it's a whole deck of new little cards for you, and a fresh set of ritual cards for you as well. And those are available via our 30 Days of Goddess specific newsletter. If you're not signed up for it, there's a link below the video as well to sign up. If you are signed up, you got that daily practice starter kit message. You got that at the same time, or you should have gotten that at the same time you were notified that this video and these materials were ready for you. So they should all be around somewhere for you. But that's one of the new things that I created for June, though these then are intended to be used at any time. Like, you can use these all year. You can use these next year. This is meant to be an ongoing thing. So your 30 Days of Goddess practice might look like choosing from your decks every day, not making a book at all. It might look like making the book and then gluing the cards that you choose into the book each day. It could look like something totally different, but that's what they're intended for. This month, I also made a full color set of Cut Your Own as an expansion pack. Those are available in the Etsy shop, which is bridgesgrove.etsy.com. And then they're full color that you can cut up and have a expansion pack deck in color if you like. And We do, of course, also offer the core 30 Days of Goddess Companion deck. This one, the colored expansion is, copy shop printed. This deck is professionally printed and comes in a little tin and things like that. And that's really meant to be used all year round whenever you want it as kind of a quote unquote done for you mini ritual sacred pause in the day. So without having to make anything, without having to cut anything apart, without having to do a bunch of work, you can choose your 3 cards from the deck and you have like a little grab and go breath of the sacred in your day. Even if your day is super, super, super full and has lots of things in it, the deck can help you have a moment of sacred pause. And then we do also offer logbooks, which have 3 months in one. And additionally, the Whole and Holy Goddess Devotional, 30 Days of Goddess, actually started as a promotional effort for this prayer book, and it's turned into something completely different and way bigger, actually, than a promotional effort for this prayer book. Instead, it's become its own daily devotional practice for the last 500 days. And but the devotional is available, and a lot of people find it's very a nice practice to just open it up at random and read a prayer from it every day. I'm working on the 3rd book in this series, which is called 365 Days of Goddess, which will then have an actual poem prayer reading for every day. So it can be used as a yearly devotional book, and you can literally just open it up and go from day 1 to day 365. So that is in progress, and I hope to have that finished by, I'd love to have it finished by the end of this year, but it might not be finished until next year. I'm giving myself, some grace and some time because I'm working on another book as well, and I need to have space to be human-sized, as do all of us. So those are the resources. So I did jump into the resources after all that I offer. But in general, the base resources, the core resources for 30 Days of Goddess Practice are always free and accessible so that anybody at any time can jump right in and have what they need to get going with a simple daily devotional practice without ever spending any money or buying anything from me. If you want to buy things from me, that's awesome and I appreciate it. If you want to create a practice based on what you can print from me and what you have at home, then that is awesome too, and you are welcome to participate in the way that fits your life. So, going back to this idea that 500 Days of Goddess happens a single moment at a time. I think we can get caught up in the bigger picture, thinking, and I've joked with people, like if somebody had asked me, do you want to do something for 500 days in a row without stopping? I would have been like, nah, that sounds like a lot. I'm not really interested in doing that. Do you want to generate something and give it to everybody every day for 500 days? I would, no, maybe not so much. But that's not how daily practice happens. Daily practice happens day by day, morning by morning, night by night, moment by moment. And so one of the things I'd like to offer this month or encourage you to focus on this month is, where are those pockets of presence in your life? Where are those little doorways, to the sacred? I find that they are everywhere. So when I say a pocket of presence, we're not talking about all day. I'm as susceptible as the next person to thinking like, oh, wow, if I just had a whole weekend where I was on retreat and nobody was bothering me and the phone never lit up and no kid ever asked me a question, then my life would be bliss, or I could go on a pilgrimage somewhere or whatever. Most of us have a fuller life than that. And so that's not to, critique the eat, pray, love type of experience, but, the point of 30 Days of Goddess is fitting into your life as it is right now, like right now, from this actual minute, right now. No need to be any more special, any different, or any more magical than you already are at this exact moment. You're already special enough. You're already magical enough. You already have what you need. And you don't have to flee from your everyday life to go on an amazing pilgrimage. Though an amazing pilgrimage can be great, but you don't have to have anything different than you have right now. And so we all have these kind of pockets of presence in our day. When we wake up, when we're brushing our teeth, when we're transitioning between activities. I quoted in a past audio a quote about mudrooms in our lives. There's an audio that went out to our Goddess Magic community on Patreon, which is patreon.com/BridgetSgrove, about mudrooms and pockets of presence, with the idea that devotional space can happen in these metaphorical mudrooms in your life, these transition points between activities, in the car on the way home, in the car on the way somewhere else, getting ready for bed, lying down to go to bed, stepping outside and sitting on the porch for a few minutes, before, as a pause, before you pick up the phone or before you open up your computer. There's transition points in all of our lives. Even walking into the bathroom, has its own transition point. So where are these pockets of presence for you? Where are these metaphorical mud rooms in your life? Each one is this doorway to the sacred. And even walking into the bathroom can be a doorway to the sacred. But the doorways to the sacred are everywhere. And the other thing I wanted to really emphasize, really emphasize, is that the moment I've written about this, I wrote about this in Whole and Holy, and I'm writing about it in the new book that I'm working on right now too. But the moment you feel the pang, the moment you feel this tinge of longing, like, oh, I wish I had some magic. Oh, I wish that, phooey on Molly who's saying that everything is sacred. There's nothing sacred here. There is no beauty here. That kind of feeling when you feel that pang of like, what do you mean that, my life is holy now? What do you mean that there's magic even in this moment? The moment you feel that sensation, the moment you feel that sense of longing, that pang, that pulse of desire, that sensation of like, surely there's something else, that craving, that like, I wish, I could feel like I was walking in the hand of the goddess. I wish I could feel that. That moment that you feel that longing, that is the moment. That's your doorway right there. That's your chance to offer something in that actual moment. So instead of looking at those moments as something indicative of you doing something wrong or that, your life sucks or whatever, look at that moment of longing is your doorway to the sacred. That's your chance to offer something, even if what you offer is as small as your hands in prayer pose and your fingertips to your lips to your own fingertips. Even if that's what you have to offer right there, that's your doorway to the sacred. That's your moment. That's your chance to put your hand on your heart. That's your chance to say, Goddess, guide me. That's your chance to say, thank you. That's your chance to say, help me. That's your chance to say, here I am and this is what I have. That's your chance to look out the window and see if you can spot a bird. That's your chance to notice the clouds, the sun, the moon, the flower that's in bloom. That's your chance. That's your invitation. And so along those same lines, I have another little thing I'd like to share with you to wrap up. I'm almost done. A little thing, a new practice. And so one of the things that I emphasize in 30 Days of Goddess, but in other contexts as well, is in goddess-based living in general, is the body as a source of wisdom, the body as a teacher, the body as a guide, and the body as a doorway to the sacred. So I really like body-based practices that pull us out of the phone, out of the computer, out of our heads, and like back into the body. Like, here we are. And I have some other resources about that. I know that not everybody's body feels like a safe place for them. And if that is you, I'm sorry that that's been your experience. So not everybody's body feels like a safe place. So there's other resources to explore if that is your experience. So assuming that we can drop into our bodies and that our bodies are safe spaces for us, that centering back into your body can be one of the most powerful ways to come back to the sacred, come back to the present, because that's where the goddess dwells, is in this present moment right now. That's where she is right now. Heartbeat beneath your skin, wind in your hair, sun in the sky. Like, that's where she is right now and where you are right now. And so when we come back to our bodies, we come back to like, oh, okay, this is where we are right now. And so this technique, I'm calling it like a 5-finger prayer, but I just learned this from Barbara Ardinger, who's been around for a long time writing about goddess-based paths. And she wrote about, I'll try to remember to link to her blog post that was about this, but she wrote about using your own body as a prayer bead, as a string of prayer beads. So, a lot of us have prayer beads, or do I have mine handy? I think I do. Alyssa from the Creative Spirit Circle made these for me, and then I have a changeable change out with one of our enamel goddesses on the bottom, or one of the minis like I have on my necklace. Oops, I'll put them on the bottom. But so you might have prayer beads, you might have a mala, you might have a rosary. There's different, types. Beads have been used in devotional practice across cultures. They're not owned by a specific spiritual path to use beads as part of chanting, prayer, devotional practice. And so what Barbara wrote about, though, is treating your own body like it's your own prayer beads, so you don't have to have anything. I love practices that do not require any tools. Candles are awesome. Crystals are awesome. Awesome goddesses are awesome. Like, those things are great. But we also have our bodies always. We have our breath always. We have our heartbeat always. So if we can come back to those things, then we have our altar everywhere. We have our blessing basket everywhere. We have our sacred space everywhere. We have our temple everywhere, because we've got the breath, we've got the heartbeat, we've got the hands, we've got what we need. And so there's a long description. She just writes about using your fingers as your prayer beads. So basically, you repeat your prayer using your fingers to kind of count through the prayer, as if you were pulling beads through your fingers, but instead you're just using your actual fingers. So the little finger's this, the next finger's this, the next finger's this, and you kind of move through your prayer like your hand itself is your prayer beads. And I loved this because I thought, these are prayers we can touch. These are prayers we can hold in our hands. Isn't that powerful? And so I made up a couple quickly to go with this 5-finger prayer practice. And what I'm hoping is that if others of you like this idea as well, and thanks to Barbara for having introduced me to that concept, I would love it if you would also share your 5-finger prayers with me, and maybe I can put them together into a little booklet or a little set of cards or something that I can give away to everybody to benefit from, like a buffet of possible 5-finger prayers or 5-finger spells or offerings. And so if nobody sends me any, that's also fine. But if you do want to send some to me, I could really see this making kind of a neat little offering for the community as a whole with these 5 fingers. So I made, just totally spontaneously off the top of my head, I said, I am here, I am whole, I am safe, I am magic, I am free. I am here, I am whole, I am safe, I am magic, I am free. And then I also put together ones that were based on things that I say a lot, things that I write a lot, things that I come back to over and over and over again. And this I called a 5-finger spell for wholeness. So I call my spirit back. I am my own sacred space. There is magic everywhere. Goddess, guide me. I am open to you. And then you could repeat this as you go. And then I was kind of playing with, more traditional types of prayers, which I know there's some controversy about whether that's appropriate or not. I don't come from a traditional Christian background. So for me, I feel like, pretty much everything that I offer is kind of subversive or heretical or, practically sacrilegious in the eyes of the dominant religious traditions. So I don't get that concerned about adopting things from dominant religious practices and creating a goddess-based practice out of it, because I feel like a lot of the work that I do is already a challenge to those established structures. But I know that some people might not feel comfortable with those kinds of things. So I had adapted this one with the 5 fingers too. So, hail goddess, full of love. Blessed are we, and blessed are all the strands in your web. O Holy Mother of this earth, be with us now, for we walk in the palm of your hand, today and forever. Blessed be, and thank you. So anyway, if you have ones to add for your 5 fingers, I would love to hear them, and I would love to add them to a little resource compilation to share with the rest of the people next month. And so that was, that's what's been on my mind this month. And so welcome. I enjoy seeing what you create this month and what we will create together as we continue to experience small, simple devotional practices that nourish us on our goddess-centered spiritual paths. And I have a poem that I just wrote today, or a kind of a mini ritual / poem / prayer that I'd like to offer to you as we close today. And it is this. Find a place, quiet and alone. Listen to yourself breathe. Lay a hand against your heart and feel the pulse that beats there, irrepressible and wild. Find some witnesses, a tree, a stone, a friendly bird, a listening cloud. Make a promise to a dream you hold sacred, a vision that you sense and perhaps have yet to speak. Name it now. Make a vow, secret and sacred, to your purpose, to the work you carry that burns to be expressed, that is only yours to do. Bring your hands together, palm to palm in front of your heart. Commit. This is your life right now. This is what you have and who you are. Open your hands and kiss each palm in turn. Keep your promises. Thank you so much for being here.